Don't go away. Jonathan travels to the Maldives to investigate a manta ray feeding frenzy.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bird, and welcome to my world.
Manta rays are among the ocean's most majestic animals. And while I've seen a few manta rays in my travels, I've never seen a manta ray feeding frenzy, something that happens during a specific time of the year at a remote atoll in the Indian Ocean. So I've come here to Baa Atoll in the Maldives for the adventure of a lifetime. The Maldives are a group of islands in the middle of the Indian Ocean, just southwest of India's southern tip. They're made up of thousands of coral atolls dotting the tropical blue water. Here you can see everything from a traditional local fisherman in a rowboat with a single fishing pole to the hustle and bustle of water taxis around the capital city of Mali. I'll be exploring the Maldives aboard a luxury dive yacht capable of traveling hundreds of miles between atolls to find the best dive sites. I'm brought aboard by a small boat called a dooney that will cruise alongside us. We'll use the dooney as our diving platform. Soon we set sail for Baa Atoll, and the captain drives the boat not with a gigantic steering wheel, but a tiny joystick. We leave the busy capital behind and cruise out into open water. Although the boat has diesel engines, she gets a helping hand from favorable winds. The next morning, our dive master Shah gives us a short lecture on what to expect and how we're going to find the mantas. Once our gear is aboard the dooney and the captain ready to head out, we climb aboard and they shove off from the mother ship. Time to go looking for manta rays. We navigate between the shallow reefs and sandy lagoons on our way to a place called Hanafaru Bay. There are 20 divers on this expedition, and we're suited up and ready to go. Shah is watching for mantas from the top deck. We pass idyllic beaches on enchanting uninhabited islands. Hanafaru Bay turns out to be not much more than a ring of coral reefs surrounding a shallow sandy seafloor. It's not really a bay at all. Shah doesn't see anything resembling a manta, but we decide to go check it out anyway. I suit up, keeping my expectations high.
Well, this is it. Hanafaru Bay. Let's go see if we can find some manta rays.
The reefs around the outside of Hanafaru Bay are gorgeous, filled with colorful corals and schools of fish. But the sandy bottom of the bay is fairly featureless. And there are no mantas. I wait for a while, looking up for manta shapes, but nothing swims over. Mantas only come here when the tides are just right because plankton accumulates in the bay.
Well, No mantas. You know, they tell me there can be like 50 or 100 mantas in this bay, but so far we haven't seen any. I guess we'll try again tomorrow.
As the sun sinks below the horizon, I can only wonder what tomorrow will bring. I sure hope I didn't come all this way for nothing. The next morning, we're off again to look for mantas. Dive masters Shaw and Shumi are on top of the boat scouring the water for shadows. They want to find the mantas just as badly as we want to see them. We approach Hanafaru Bay with bated breath.
There's one. Look at that.
Shumi's keen eyesight has caught a shadow a few hundred yards away in the middle of Hanafaru Bay. As we get closer, we realize there are at least a dozen mantas swimming around at the surface. Who knows where they were yesterday, but today they're here. So, without wasting any time, we get ready to go into the water. Some of our group is going to try snorkeling with them, which is probably a better way to keep up. To shoot steady footage, I really need to get down away from the surface waves, so I'm going to use my scuba gear. I hit the water and immediately a manta turns and comes towards me, flying like a huge bird with a 10-foot wingspan right over my head. These strangely shaped animals are relatives of sharks. They have no swim bladder and they sink if they stop swimming. So, just like gigantic underwater birds, they flap their wings to move and stay up off the bottom. Even though their mouths are open wide, these animals present no threat to people. They eat only plankton. They catch the plankton by swimming with their mouths wide open and funneling extra water in using two special fins in front of their mouth called cephalic lobes. Looking down into a manta's throat, you can see the gills. The water goes back out through the gills, but the plankton gets caught on comb-like filters. So a manta ray is like a big swimming strainer that filters out all the tiny planktonic bug-like animals in the water. As I watch them feed, I can see their massive gill slits underneath where the water comes back out. While some mantas like to swim along the surface to feed, others find a good spot filled with plankton and do barrel rolls, filtering the same cloud of plankton over and over until they've gotten most of it. This pair of mantas feeds in formation. I have no idea if this helps them feed more effectively, if it's just a coincidence, or maybe they're just pals. The mantas don't seem to mind me at all. At first I thought that maybe they were so busy feeding that they didn't notice much, but sometimes it seems like they're actually coming by on purpose to give me a look. The water is filled with tiny silvery fish that are also feeding on the plankton. They swim through my frame like a cloud of silver, dangerously near the mantas' mouths, but fast enough to avoid the hungry mantas. As the sun gets lower in the sky, the tide is turning and conditions for feeding become less ideal. The mantas start to wander off into the open ocean.
Man, that is what we came for. Dozens of manta rays all feeding at the same time with the tide going out. Amazing to see with all their mouths wide open and zooming back and forth. Woohoo, man, that was awesome.
After 10 days at Hanafaru Bay, I only saw the feeding frenzy on 3 occasions when conditions were just right. But those magical few hours I spent in the water with the mantas were worth every bit of the trouble in traveling all the way to the Maldives. Once again, I have been fortunate to witness a stunning performance of nature in the shallow waters of the blue world.